Hello everyone and welcome back to the Star Fox Adventures playthrough. Now before we start, because you know today is going to be our longest part and there's a lot to get through, I just want to say apologies if you can hear any rain in the background. It's raining and I can't control weather, and if I did I wouldn't be doing a Star Fox Adventures playthrough. But before we start Cloud Runner Fortress, there's so many things to do, to do in Cloud Runner Fortress really, that you know, I kind of forgot that we had to do this R-Wing section beforehand, and I have nothing really to say about it, honestly. It's the same as any others. It's nice. I guess the thing that I like about some of these R-Wing sections is you can actually see some of the architecture to the place we're going. Like the bits of the Cloud Runner Fortress there. That's kind of cool. It's kind of like, I would say foreshadowing, but I'm not going to give Rare the credit of saying that it's that inspired or clever. Now this is getting to the point, these R-Wing sections, where getting the gold rings can become a little bit of a pain. The only time I ever missed one when recording was the last Spellstone. I'm going to Dragon Rock. That's the only time I missed one. It is kind of a pain. It was kind of a pain, honestly, though. But that's when you get to the point where you have to get like 9. And that's it, that's the end of the R-Wing section. Yes, that was fun, I guess. It's just a painful reminder of what Rare has not given us. But at least I got the high score. It's totally meaningless, but you know, at least I got the high score. And here we are at Cloud Runner Fortress, the second quote-unquote temple of the game. As you can see, it's quite a visual departure from the other places we've been to, really. I'll also loudly proclaim that an intruder has appeared in front of the Sharpclaw. Well, at least that guarantees we're not going to have any kind of stealth approach. We're going to have to go in hard. You know how this combat goes. I'm going to skip them. Honestly, there's no point fighting them. You don't get anything for it. I was saying earlier about the water effects looking nice. These are some great water effects. I love the way this looks. They actually remind me a lot of the water effects in Corneria for Lilac, for the first level of Lilac Wars. Actually, just the kind of reflective surface. Like I think that's a graphical effect that is like kind of. Like, for Lilac Wars, it was kind of like an underappreciated graphical effect. I've never heard anyone mention it. It's just that, to me, I think that's one of the innovations of that game, really. Is that kind of level of detail. There's kind of a random platform challenge before we go into Cloud Runner Fortress. I have to ask, as the name would imply, it's a Cloud Runner Fortress. Only Cloud Runners can come here. Why do they need that to stop people getting in? Like, let's be honest, out of all the other dinosaurs that are here, apart from the Lightfoot, who are very isolationist by nature, as we'll see, who would be able to do that platforming challenge? I guess you could argue that's kind of the point, but someone had to have created it to... I'm reading way too much into this. The point is it's dumb. Again, just kind of contributes to that idea that it's very... I don't know, stuff like that makes it very clear that it's game design. It just kind of takes me out of it a little bit, because you quickly realise that the only reason that stuff's there is for Fox to go through it, and it's not naturally supposed to be there, if you know what I mean. Now I mentioned, bring up a lot of things here, that we don't get to see scale. So this is, I swear to God, no lie, this part here is the only time that Fox and Scales meet in the entire game before the ending. It's a fucking joke. It really is sometimes. I can't even enjoy Scales on a hammy level. Like, he's not going deliciously over the top. I would love that. If there was a live-action movie of Star Fox, I want Michael Shannon to play General Scales, just so he can yell, "I will find him."
Stop. It's over, Scales.
That's really cool, Fox, and it's nice that you want to rescue this Queen character, but this is pretty pathetic. I've got to be honest. Scales is a crappy villain. His finger looked really long there, but oh my god, Scales. I remember when Brawl was coming out, people wanted Scales in the game. Why? What about him was cool? Yeah, we've actually been kidnapped by the Sharpclaw. That's not a mistake. You have to do it, and I'm showing you easily how to get out of here. But I'll be honest. The first time I played this game and got into that, I got stuck because I was an idiot and didn't check the rest of the walls and that. Yep, just sneak around him. Now, because we don't have a staff, you can't fight him. So, like, literally, he'll wake up, and it'll be game over, and you have to do it all again. And they won't. I don't understand why they've imprisoned Fox. They could just execute him, and he will be absolutely no threat whatsoever. Now, the thing at the top there, the thing that's blaring up there, that is basically just to tell you to do that to blow up the ceiling, because Slippy has made an invention for you to use on your mission. So let's check out what it is. Oh yeah, little Fox Sharpclaw. He's even got a little backpack for some fucking reason. This is really, really strange. It's a really, really odd power-up. And again, a lot of Star Fox Adventures upgrades. It's so situational, it's borderline pointless. You only really use it here for a puzzle in Cape Claw. And in the Krazoa Palace to open one of the doors to get to the Krazoa Shrine. I don't remember having to use it at any other point in the game. It's so pointless. Okay, we got back crystal stuff. So you can open any of these cages. The only one you need to open is on the other side. Opening the one for that little cloud runner there. I don't know if there's actually a purpose to that, honestly. I've never found it. This is actually I think this is the Queen's husband, but it's not confirmed in the game. But I honestly think it is, judging by the cutscene we'll be seeing at the end of this part. Now, I said I did this in one part. It shows you actually that the Cloud Runner Fortress is incredibly short. Like usually. You can see where that structure that I was mentioning in Dark Ice Mines about setting up the temple then doing the temple. There isn't a setup here. You literally just do the Cloud Runner Fortress and you get the Spellstone. It's very bizarre. But honestly, if I was going to kind of rate the Cloud Runner Fortress as a section of the game, yeah, it's pretty fun. It's got some nice visual design, like I mentioned, the water outside, and I really like the architecture. But honestly, it's not the most interesting place. I guess to some people it can seem dull, and honestly the music doesn't really help that. This is probably my least favourite musical track in the entire game. It's so dull. It's not like a cool kind of atmospheric that we'll see in the Ocean Force Point or Krazoa. It's just a very kind of like a light bongo track and some really odd piano breaks. I'm not really a fan of it. It's kind of dull, to be honest. So basically your objective is to walk around this area basically and activate the wind lifts, which entails you doing a challenge, getting a piece of it, and then entering a room, and that's like half of the thing done already, which is pretty odd. Yeah, sorry about that odd cut there. It may look a bit kind of strange how it went from night to day. Basically, I messed the thing up and I just had to do it again, and the reason why there's a switch on there in the ladder is to get... The first time I did it, I went over to turn the ladder on and then failed the thing. So I had to come back and do it again. So I'm sorry if that looks a bit odd, but it just does. Yeah, you know what? Being honest, that makes me really want to play Spyro the Dragon. And is that... I don't know how many... I mean, like, obviously... At this point, I've noticed that not a lot of people are watching this playthrough, but that made me... Would you want to see me play Spyro is the point I'm trying to make, because that's a playthrough that I've wanted to do. And actually, I mentioned in other parts about how I lost Star Fox Adventures footage because of the great laptop fuck-up of about 2 months ago. I had recorded an entire Spyro the Dragon playthrough, but all the footage was lost. It's also where I recorded the footage for my review, if you want to check that out as well. And yeah, it's kind of a shame because that was a game that I think actually that was going to be the game before I started Star Fox More Than Summer now. And again, sorry about that cut for the same reason. And yeah, it was going to be Star Fox 64. Then I think it was going to be Spyro the Dragon, and then whatever's after this, I won't tell you that. I think ironically losing the footage made me think that I should do a Star Fox marathon, I guess. So that's pretty much the reason why you're watching the Star Fox marathon. The red gems are worth 1. Yep, so now we've got all the little Spyro gems. So what you have to do is just walk over here and go in this room. Before, I mean, like, you have to place that thing in first. Very kind of obnoxious that the Cloud Runners would design this place to intentionally suck the oxygen out of your fucking lungs. And that's the wind lifts turn back on. Now, I have a question. This is the Cloud Runner Fortress. Are the wind lifts just for people who can't fly? Because, like, I don't know. I find it very bizarre. A bizarre thought that a gust of wind like that could carry a dinosaur of that weight up there. I don't know. I find it very strange. But turning all these wind lifts on has kind of opened the fortress up to us. We now have kind of like a free reign of the entire place. But like now that we have a free reign of the entire place, we have to actually go and rescue the Queen, then just kick Scales out of a fortress basically. And I don't know if you saw at the beginning there when Peppy was explaining what Scales was doing here, but the reason Scales has come to the fortress is to take all of the gold that's actually here. I don't know. I find that... Why? What does he need the gold for? Is it just to sit on it like Smaug the Dragon? Because that's not very interesting. It wasn't interesting for Lord of the Rings, or The Hobbit, I mean, when it isn't interesting here. I think Scales' entire plan can be pretty much summed up as, we've got to have more money. Or I could just insert that clip from the Tom and Jerry movie here. If Ethan was here, I would get him to do an impression of that, because he's really good at doing that impression. I don't think I know another game where these kill the enemies and open the door things are as obnoxious. I think, honestly, I don't know if anyone remembers Sonic Rush. The rooms in that were really, really obnoxious with that. Especially in the kind of gameplay style that Sonic is, you'd be going really, really fast. Then the doors would just basically shut and just lock you in a room full of these enemies you had to defeat. Yeah, actually, this place, looking at it from the outside, reminds me a lot of the Wind... what was it called? The Temple in the Sky from Twilight Princess. I adored that temple so much. It was so fun. Twilight Princess, just going on a bit of a Zelda tangent. We will be getting to that one day after Majora's Mask is finished, and after the playthrough that's been recorded after that. That temple, the Wind one, is probably, like I said, is a really great one. But I always find it weird in Twilight Princess how the game got better in the second half. Like, as soon as you get the Master Sword and get the ability to turn into the wolf at will, that game just skyrockets in quality for me, and I think some of the best temples in the game are after that. Now back to Star Fox Adventures. This section here, where you have to bring the barrel up, I found this incredibly irritating when I was younger. Like, I always used to mess up, I throw the barrel wrong, I get hit by that thing, the lightning bolt. It would just irritate me, but I kind of got the hang of it now. If you walk under these little beetle things with the lightning bolts, by the way, you'll instantly be shocked, so don't do it. I think it takes a good chunk of your life away as well. Reminds me a lot of the in Sonic Adventure 2, the Rouge level, what is it called? Egg Chamber. I think it's Egg Chamber. Reminds me a lot of the beetles that fly around there that will basically instantly kill you. That's it, past me. Grab that magic. Now, to rescue the Kreen, the Kreen sounds like an alien species that should be in Star Fox Zero. But to rescue the Queen, we basically have to do the same thing we did, but we have to bring the barrel into this room and blow the support out from underneath the cage. But it's that is a lot easier than getting the barrel up there to have access to this room in the first place, because you just need to, as you can see there, the barrel room is literally to the left. We just need to bring it in, throw it over, and we're set, really. I guess another use of the sharp claw thing is that you can only pick up these barrels, but what is so special about these barrels that you can't pick them up as Fox, or dare I say that the sharp claw has, or dare I say that the sharp claw are intelligent enough to have used kind of the same kind of DNA fingerprint thing, so we can't pick the thing up unless we're a sharp claw.
When I was captured, they became scared and are now hiding around the fortress. Please take this.
That's right. It's a child hunt. I don't like saying child hunt. It sounds really odd. It's a Cloud Runner Queen baby hunt, and we get to hunt. We get to call them back with the derpiest looking flute ever. Come on, Fox, lift up so we can get a better look at it. There we go. Look at this bad boy. This is the derpiest flute I've ever seen. You could put a troll... I nearly said a troll flute then, just to add to my point. You could put a troll face on the front of that and nothing about it would change. So the level of seriousness it projects would not change in any way, shape or form. Now, this is easily the most tedious part of the dungeon, I guess. What you're supposed to do is, like, beat up the sharp claw and then use the flute to call the babies away. Now, like an idiot, I walked over here, despite being shown the other one, because I thought I could break the sequence of events and call that one back first. But no, you have to kill the sharp claw first and then call them. So don't do what I just did, because that was a moronic thing to do. Even though on my first playthrough I did it flawlessly. It's the only time I've ever got worse playing the game more. What an amazing... You know, to be honest, I'm being a bit harsh on the game. I will not be impressed unless Fox plays through the fire and the flames on it, to be honest. Now, these first couple of children aren't that bad to kind of rescue from the sharp claw. It's the third one that's a massive pain in the arse, because it's more getting to it that's bad than actually rescuing them. But as you can probably tell from that clip there, the more you rescue, the more sharp claw get added. So for number 1 we have 1, for number 2 we have 2, for 3 for 3, you know, that kind of thing. Thing, not thing. Honestly, I think we're about at the halfway point of Star Fox Adventures, and this has probably been my favourite playthrough I've done. Like, I think it's gotten better as I've gone through the parts, because like I've settled into getting the flow of the game and understanding how to talk about it. But honestly, the game just keeps throwing stuff at me, and I get extra salty about it. And I genuinely, not being arrogant, I actually think like the salt can be pretty funny. Now, getting baby number 3, as I said, can be a little bit of a pain. So what you have to do is, again, on my first... I've got to stop saying it again. On my first playthrough, it took me ages to figure out that the way up there was under this. But, yeah, that's a little bit vague, I'm sorry. On my first playthrough, I just kept the switch that you press to open the gate initially to get in there. I just kept turning it on and off in the vague hope that it would help, and it did not help. if there was ever a remake of this game, I would demand that we get realistic beating up of the Sharp Claw. Like, none of this, they disappear into, like, magic or whatever. I guess an explanation you could make for that is they're being teleported back to their ship, I guess, and, you know, they're being redeployed or something. They were really moving really oddly there. But, like, I want a remake where we're bashing their brains out of their skulls. I want real death and violence. I want dinosaurs to be eating each other and killing each other. I want a reason to bring a blaster, damn it, and not a goddamn staff. That would be much more entertaining. Let's go rescue this fourth baby then, and then we can defeat Scales. You see what I mean about how short this place is? We've had to do 2 big tasks, and we're pretty much done. Like, the boss fight we get isn't even really a boss fight. I guess past me just felt like, you know, taking out on some of the Sharp Claw. Maybe I'm just beating them up because I want there to be blood and brains everywhere. And never will be. I guess, like, something I kind of want to point out when I play, as we do this playthrough, it's one of the reasons I did it, is, like, at the beginning I said I wanted to show you that the game, I feel, is very, like, criticised too much. Like, it's got a lot of redeeming things. And while I'm being extra salty about stuff, like, really pointless, like, mindless things, I honestly think the game is fun, and you can have a lot of fun in it. And I said before, about things getting better as you go through. I actually think Star Fox Adventures is a game, once you get into the flow of it, you can have a lot of fun. And getting to about this point in the game, when you start getting the Spellstones and Krazoas in quick succession, then the game can be really fun. I mean, like, after this, in the next part, when we take the Spellstone back, as soon as we put it back, we're immediately thrown into something else, and I like that. It's kind of getting just thrown into a load of different set pieces, and I find that really genuinely very entertaining. I would have liked to know more about the world, but I think as a Zelda quote unquote rip off, it does its job very well.
Thank you, Fox. As promised, here is your...
Now I'll start summing up the Cloud Runner Fortress because there's stuff to talk about. I mean, like, we've got 4 minutes left until the end of the part, but I think there is still some stuff to talk about the boss and all of that. I kind of summed it up earlier, but just to definitively give my opinion, it's enjoyable to go through, and it's got some great looking, like, architecture and that, and just great graphical design and all of that, but it's pretty dull. Like, it's pretty... The stuff you're doing here isn't epic, it's inane bollocks, basically. Compared to other places, like the Dark Ice Mines, that entire race of mammoths was imprisoned by Scales. What's going on here? Oh, her babies have been scattered. You know what I mean? It's a bit kind of... Really? It would have been better suited if the kind of threats had increased the more you got, so it felt more like you were undoing the damage Scales did. You know what I mean? Like, starting off small, maybe rescuing the children, and then going to rescue slaves, and then by the time you get to Dragon Rock, rescuing a whole planet. You know what I mean? That would have been awesome. But unfortunately, it's not to be, and the structure gets a little bit weird. Yeah, a quick fade there, because all you have to do there is go back, get the barrel, and pretty much put it down the wind lift we were using earlier. You know, the one we threw across to get the barrel to the Queen. That's pretty much all you're doing. Right, let's go and confront Scales then, in the entrance to the Fire Temple. That's Fox dead. You will not be needing any magic here, so it's kind of pointless getting it.
Scales.
Sharp Claw Shield. Well done, Fox. You're completely fucking useless. And I love the way just... How far did he fucking throw him? Jesus. Oh, okay. Bye. So, is he disappeared? Or was he ever there to begin with? Well, that doesn't really matter, because now we've got to do our boss fight, which is chasing after these people. Sharpclaw. Now, this is the last time we're actually going to be using this. Yeah, it's kind of weird, like, you start off in the game, you do about 4 of these, like, within, like, a couple of hours. This is the last one. We won't be touching this jet bike thing again. I can't say I'd miss it, honestly. So what you have to do here is basically just chase the Sharpclaw, get to the one with the Spellstone, destroy him, and that's it, pretty much. I cut this pretty short, honestly, because I do 1 lap of the thing to show you what to do, and it took me about 5 minutes to do it. And it wasn't very fun to sit through, so I'll do one lap of the whole course, and I've explained to you how to do it, and that's it. So look, there's the one with the Spellstone. You just get him, really. That's it. Anticlimactic. Oh, that's just such an awkward, cheesy grin. Oh hell yeah, the royal treatment. See, that's what I mean. Is that the Queen's husband? Is he the king? Awkward line reading and Muppet mouths. And we've got another piece of heart, quote unquote. So that was it for the Cloudrunner Fortress, really. Well, we got a nice part away from Tricky, I guess, and you know, that was great. But honestly, it's not the most exciting place in the world. But we've saved it from Scales. Next time in the Star Fox Adventures playthrough, we'll be going to the Ocean Force Point Temple, which is in a place we've already been, and we'll be putting the Spellstone back, really, and we'll be seeing my favourite place in the entire game. So I'll see you next time in part 11 of the Star Fox Adventures playthrough.